Exposed, the heartwarming moment a billionaire changed a poor girl's life on their blind date. Emma served smiles like pancakes at the bustling downtown diner. At 25, juggling work, her younger brother Danny, and her single mother felt like walking a tightrope. Dreams of a brighter future shimmered on the horizon, always just out of reach until her best friend, Sarah, blindsided her with a blind date. "You need this," Sarah urged, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Emma hesitated. Dating wasn't in the plans. Responsibilities weighed heavily, but there was a spark of something hope, maybe? So, nervously fiddling with her apron, she said yes. On the other side of the city, Mark, a 32-year-old billionaire, pushed past the glitz of his expansive world. He wanted genuine connections. Instead, people saw him and instantly labeled him rich guy. Ugh, the weight of expectations was draining. As he approached the diner's entrance, he reminded himself of his mission to break free from assumptions. He spotted Emma, her brown hair tousled, her apron a bit rumpled. A spark lit in his chest. He knew he needed to get her to see beyond his wealth. When their eyes met, the awkwardness hung thick. Emma's skepticism cloaked her, and Mark's nervous smile felt just a tad forced. They sat and chatted, but what should have been easy felt clumsy. At least, until a homeless veteran approached their table to ask for some spare change. Emma's eyes softened, her heart ached. Mark watched in awe as she reached for her own lunch money, offering it without hesitation. That moment struck him how raw and beautiful her kindness was. As they walked outside, the neon lights flickered against the dusky sky. They stumbled upon an elderly couple struggling with their car. While Emma jumped in to help, Mark felt guilty for his overwhelming urge to whip out his checkbook. He tried to push past that, offering to call for a tow, only to see Emma's demeanor change. "We don't need money, we just need a hand," she snapped. The tension danced between them, yet under it all was undeniable chemistry. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the sun set, they wandered, meeting more bustling life. A community center nearing closure, a local talent show on the verge of being forgotten. Emma's empathy shone, transforming tensions into shared laughter as they supported a street performer and cheered for an unrecognized artist. Mark began to see the world through her lens, the colors of struggle, the scent of hope, and the warmth of community. But then, Mark made the mistake of offering to donate to the community center, thinking it could help. Emma's cold rejection pierced him. "Charity isn't connection," she said sharply, frustration bubbling over. The crack between them widened, a precipice of misunderstanding due to their worlds clashing. As he watched her walk away, doubt brushed chilly fingers against his heart. Could he prove he wasn't just wealth in a suit? Could she ever trust him? The night simmered with potential, leaving Emma grappling with feelings of shame and yearning as she returned to her responsibilities. Just as he was about to retreat, Mark decided he would throw a surprise community event, showcasing local talent, including Danny's. Unbeknownst to them both, their worlds were about to collide in a way neither could possibly imagine. Would she see him as he truly was? Would Emma be brave enough to let herself feel something more? Mark spent the next few days in a whirlwind of planning. He reached out to local artists, pulled together volunteers, and brainstormed ideas for the event. The community center, so close to shutting its doors for good, became a symbol of hope in his mind. He wanted Emma to see him for who he truly was, someone willing to put in the effort to make a difference, not just with money, but with heart and soul. Meanwhile, Emma was caught in her own whirlwind. She tried to brush off the blind date as just another weird story to tell. Still, every night, as she lay in bed, her thoughts drifted to the tall, charming man with kind eyes. She was haunted by their conversation, by her outburst. The reminder that he saw her for her heart, not just the struggles she carried, lingered in her mind. Danny needed her attention, too. He had big dreams of playing soccer, and every day after school, they practiced in the small park nearby. Emma felt both pride and worry as she watched him kicking the ball, hoping he would have opportunities she never did. She needed to keep her focus sharp and not let her emotions muddy the water. On the day of the event, excitement buzzed through the air. Colorful banners fluttered in the wind, and fairy lights twinkled under the awning of the community center. Mark stepped outside, feeling butterflies in his stomach. His eyes scanned the crowd, searching for the familiar face that had both inspired him and torn him. The performance kicked off with local musicians serenading the crowd. Laughter and applause filled the evening as different voices took the stage, sharing their stories, their struggles wrapped in melodies and verses. Mark felt a swell of pride. This wasn't just a charity event, it was a celebration of resilience. But Emma had no idea this was for her community or her brother, too. She stayed home, wrapped in her responsibilities and doubts, flipping through messages on her phone. It was Sarah again. "You have to come. It's going to be incredible." As the sun dipped lower, painting the sky shades of orange, Emma's heart tugged. A small part of her whispered to take a chance. She eventually gave in, rushing to the community center, her pulse racing in time with her impatience. As she approached, the music spilled out, blending with the vibrations of cheers and claps. When she stepped inside, she froze. The room was alive. Familiar faces filled the seats, but what stole her breath was the sight of Mark on stage, telling a story that felt intimately connected to her life. "I met someone who reminded me of what it means to truly connect," he said, gesturing to the audience. Emma felt heat rush to her cheeks. Kindness flowed from his words, weaving through the crowd like a gentle breeze. This community deserves to thrive, not just survive. We can make it happen together. Tears prickled at the corners of Emma's eyes. Could it really be that someone like him cared so genuinely? Her heart raced, and suddenly she felt the weight of her own guard beginning to crumble. As Mark's eyes found hers, they locked in a moment filled with unspoken words. What would she do next? Would she let him back in? The music swelled, a mix of hope and uncertainty swirling between them. And just as she thought she could step forward, an unexpected revelation struck, one that might change everything. Emma blinked, trying to steady her racing thoughts. The room was buzzing with energy, and even though the crowd surrounded her, she felt like it was just her and Mark. It was as if time had paused, allowing her to grapple with the tidal wave of emotions crashing over her. Mark's gaze held her captive. The warmth in his eyes pushed against the walls she had built around herself. Could she really let someone in again? She remembered every time she had opened up, only to be left with scars that never quite healed. But his sincerity felt disarming, like a light cutting through the fog of her confusion. The hit of a drum pulled her back. Mark was moving on with the program, but his words echoed in her mind. Together. It was a simple word, yet it carried the weight of possibility. Emma felt her heart flutter, a strange mix of hope and fear. She had built a life keeping herself and Danny protected, but was she really shielding them from danger, or was she simply closing them off from happiness? She glanced at her brother, who was sitting cross-legged, eyes wide, utterly captivated. Seeing him lose himself in the music, Emma realized her choices affected him too. As the last local musician strummed the last chord, the audience erupted into applause. Mark stepped back, taking in the radiant smiles and cheers. But his focus remained on Emma, unwavering. The momentary thrill of the show dimmed as nervousness washed over him. He was about to step off the stage and walk toward her, a decision weighing heavy on his heart. Deep breaths. Emma pushed back the feeling of fear. She wanted to be brave. Danny needed that from her. Just as she decided to meet Mark halfway, the unexpected broke through her thoughts, a figure pushing through the crowd, yelling her name. Emma. It was Sarah, bursting toward her like a whirlwind. You made it. Oh, hey. Emma replied, forcing a smile as her eyes flicked back to Mark, who was now watching this interaction with curiosity and concern. Did you see the show? It was amazing. Sarah was visibly excited, her eyes sparkling. You should get involved. This place needs more people like you. Emma's mind raced. She wanted to say yes, to connect, to take that leap of faith, but the overwhelming sensation of doubt crawled back in. I need to talk to Mark, she said, trying to wrap her mind around the idea of stepping into the community, of stepping into something bigger. As Mark approached them, the anticipation in the air turned electrifying. Sarah noticed the way Emma's gaze softened when Mark was around, and she nudged her playfully. You should thank him for this. What was she supposed to say? Emma felt a leap and a gut-clenching fear at the same time. It was more than just thank you, it was a chance to be vulnerable. Would Mark understand her struggles? Just then, Mark was in front of her, that warm smile as inviting as ever. I didn't expect to see you here, he said, his voice a mixture of relief and friendliness. I didn't know it was for you and for us, Emma stammered, glancing at Danny, who was still beaming. Can we talk? He asked, his sincerity wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. Emma nodded. But as they moved aside, she caught a fleeting glance of Sarah's encouraging smile, and suddenly the weight of expectation hung heavily. Would she step into the unknown or retreat to the safety of her guarded heart? The crowd continued to buzz, laughter and music blending, but all she could focus on was the path ahead and the unexpected question that loomed larger than life. Would this moment mark a new beginning, or would she retreat once more into her protective shell? Emma followed Mark to a quieter corner of the room, her heart pounding with every step. The music faded, but the buzz of the crowd lingered, creating a cocoon that felt both safe and suffocating. Thanks for coming, Mark said, his voice low, almost drowned by the fading echoes of cheers. It means a lot. Emma fidgeted with her hands, looking down at the worn fabric of her jeans. I didn't know what to expect. The truth felt fragile, as if revealing it might shatter the moment. Mark leaned against the wall, arms crossed, a gesture that softened the intensity in his gaze. I'm glad you're here. The energy in the room was electric, but seeing you, it turned into something else entirely. Her cheeks heated. I didn't think I'd feel anything. I mean, I came for Danny. She glanced at her brother, still enthralled by the lingering sound of the music, a picture of innocence and joy. He needs happiness, too, Mark replied softly, his eyes darting back to Danny. And you do, too. Emma bit her lip, the words settling in her mind like a weight. Did she really deserve happiness? Bravery felt foreign, yet here was Mark, laying bare the hope she had tucked away for so long. Emma, he said, stepping closer, his voice firm yet gentle. You don't have to protect him at the cost of your own joy. You can find a balance. She swallowed hard, uncertainty bubbling to the surface. But what if? Her voice trailed off, the fears of getting hurt again creeping back in. What if it all falls apart? Mark took a deep breath, that easy smile still lingering but with a trace of seriousness. What if it doesn't? What if it leads to something amazing? The walls she built around herself felt perilously close to crumbling. I've been on my own for so long. I don't know how to let anyone in. Mark's gaze was unwavering. You're not alone, not anymore. Together, we can figure this out, whatever this is. The weight of his words hung in the air, coaxing her heart to thrum a little faster. But a nagging thought lingered in the back of her mind. Trust was an unsteady tightrope. The thought of falling sent shivers through her. Suddenly, a boisterous laugh broke through the moment, pulling Emma's attention back to Sarah, who was animatedly chatting with someone nearby. See? You're already being drawn into this place, Mark said with a chuckle, easing the heaviness that had settled between them. Emma allowed herself a small smile, feeling a flicker of something she thought long extinguished curiosity. Maybe that's a start. Mark straightened, the warmth returning to his expression. Let us make this the beginning of something new for both of us. As her heart fluttered with hope, Emma felt the pull of possibility. Could she really step into the unknown, allow herself to trust again? Maybe Mark was right. Maybe this wasn't just about her. Danny rushed over, pulling Emma from her thoughts. Mom! Did you see? They were so good. Yeah, I did. Emma exclaimed, capturing his enthusiasm, her heart swelling with unexpected joy. Mark watched them with a fond smile, and Emma realized, in that moment, that everything might be okay. What now? She asked, glancing between Danny and Mark, the weight of her decision hanging subtle yet powerful. Then Mark spoke, his voice cutting through the lingering doubts. What would you like to do next? Emma's mind raced. There was excitement in the air, a spark of something transformative. I think it's time to take that leap, she whispered, though a part of her was still trembling. As she met Mark's gaze, the intensity of the moment made her wonder, was she truly ready? Her chest tightened with possibility, and the bustling crowd faded. Just as the decision crystallized in her heart, Sarah waved them over, grinning like a sunbeam. You have to join us. This is just the beginning. The invitation echoed in Emma's ears, and with Mark poised beside her, she felt the familiar tug of destiny. Deep down, a question stirred. Would this really be a chance to embrace her future, or would the fear of her past pull her back into darkness? Emma's pulse raced as she caught Sarah's infectious enthusiasm. Danny tugged at her hand, eyes sparkling with excitement. This was supposed to be a fun night for him, a welcome distraction. But now, it was stretching into something much more significant, something that made Emma's heart flutter with hope and fear at once. Let us go. Danny shouted, practically bouncing on his feet. Mark stepped forward, a reassuring presence. We'll follow you, he said to Sarah, who already had her sights set on the dance floor. They moved through the crowd, Emma holding tight to Danny's hand, feeling the warmth of his little fingers. With each step, dread and exhilaration twisted inside her. She was teetering between her past fears and the promise of something brighter. As they reached Sarah, she beamed like a beacon of energy. You have to dance. It's the best way to connect. Mark turned to Emma, a playful challenge in his eyes. How about it, Emma? Ready to let loose? Her body felt stiff, weighted down by years of self-restraint. I don't really, the words caught in her throat, but there was a spark of rebellion being kindled. Just a little movement, Mark encouraged, his eyes warm and earnest. Danny pulled her toward the center of the dance floor. The music pulsed, heavy and inviting, drawing her in. Emma glanced between Danny's hopeful face and Mark's encouraging gaze. Wouldn't it be just like old times, before everything had changed? With a deep breath, she gave in, letting herself be swept into the rhythm. It was as if the music freed something within her. The laughter bubbled up, and for the first time in a long time, she felt the joy seep into her bones. Even Mark danced close by, but never too close, always giving her the space to find her own footing. As the beat quickened, Emma caught a glimpse of herself in a nearby reflective surface. The girl staring back was someone she hadn't seen in ages, a face lit with a genuine smile, dancing like nobody was watching. But just as she began to feel lighter, a flicker of uncertainty crossed her mind. The worry crept back in, was this too good to be true? Could a joyful moment be real? Mark caught her eye, and in that fleeting moment, she saw understanding and patience. He wasn't rushing her. He had his own vulnerabilities, and somehow, that felt comforting. What if we made a pact? He suggested during a brief pause as they caught their breath. No looking back tonight. Just be here, in this moment. Emma nodded, a nervous grin breaking through as she considered the possibility of simply existing without the weight of her past. Okay, no looking back. The sound of Sarah laughing nearby brightened the air. The group had swelled around them, friends spinning and twirling, all of them caught up in the magic of the night. Danny pulled her again, dragging her back into the fray. They danced together, their laughter echoing against the walls, a melody weaving through the crowd. Each spin brought joy, lifting Emma's spirits with each whirl. But deep down, a question still lingered: how could she hold on to this moment when shadows from her past would surely return? As the song came to a climax, Mark stepped closer, that soft smile tugging at his lips. "What's next, Emma?" he asked, the challenge sparking in his eyes. She felt the euphoria pulling her, the collective energy of the room wrapping around her like a warm embrace. Slowly, Emma opened her mouth, ready to suggest the next step, but would she take the leap yet again? The moment hung in the air, charged with promise, yet tinged with uncertainty. It was exhilarating and terrifying, like standing at the edge of a high dive. Would she jump this time, or would she hold back again? Emma's breath hitched as she considered her next words. "Maybe we could do a group dance?" The suggestion tripped lightly off her tongue, surprising even herself. It felt like stepping off that high dive, free-falling into the unknown. Mark's eyebrows shot up, a grin spreading across his face. "Great idea." He turned to the others, clapping his hands for attention. "Everyone, we should do a circle dance. It'll be fun." The crowd cheered in response, enthusiasm bubbling over the beats that still filled the air. Emma felt a rush at being part of something that felt so wonderfully spontaneous. Sarah moved fast, rallying everyone as they formed an unbroken loop around her, Mark on one side of Emma and Danny on the other. "Ready?" Sarah asked, bouncing on her toes. Emma shot her a thumbs up, a grin plastered onto her face. As the movement began, they swayed together, hands interlocked. It was refreshing to feel the weight of Danny's small hand anchoring her. The rhythm pulsed like the beating of hearts surrounding them, connecting them in a vibrant tapestry of laughter and song. But as she twirled and spun with the group, a thought crept in, tinged with anxiety. What if this fleeting joy was just that temporary? Would tomorrow bring back the burdens she had fought so hard to escape? "Focus on the dance," Mark urged gently, as if reading her thoughts. His voice pulled her back into the present. Forcing a smile, she joined Danny and Mark in the circling motion, letting the music wash over her. The laughter was contagious, each beat tracing a pattern of hope within her. Emma felt an unfamiliar sense of accomplishment blooming in her chest. She was here, alive, and moving with a community that enveloped her in warmth. Every laugh from Danny echoed deep within her, reminding her that this joy was worth embracing. After the group dance wound down, they formed a tight huddle on the floor. Sarah's cheeks were flushed with excitement. "Who's up for an impromptu karaoke contest?" she exclaimed, her eyes shining with mischief. Mark raised an eyebrow, laughter dancing in his eyes. "I'm in. But only if Emma joins." The crowd's murmurs grew excited, anticipation in the air. A part of Emma's heart fluttered nervously. Could she really sing in front of everyone? Danny looked up at her, his small face filled with unwavering support. "You can do it, Mom," he encouraged, his belief in her igniting a flicker of bravery. She hesitated, the anxiety bubbling up again, but something deep inside stirred. This was a chance for her to step out of her comfort zone and show Danny that she too could be fun. "All right, I'm in," she finally shouted, surprising herself. As cheers erupted around her, she felt a resolute energy wrapping her in courage. Mark clapped her shoulder, proud. "That's the spirit. What should we sing?" The moment felt electric. She could feel the weight of all the time she had held back stretching to break free, mingling with the thrill of possibility. As she scanned the faces of her friends, hope stirred deep within her. Maybe this was her moment. Maybe she could truly revel in the joy of the now. But just before they selected a song, a figure slipped through the crowd toward them, a presence familiar but unwelcome. Emma's heart sank, the excitement from just moments ago flickering. Could this person ruin everything she was starting to embrace? The night was shifting again, and just when she felt strong enough to leap, the shadows of her past loomed large. What would they mean for her, for Danny, for all the connections she was building? How would she confront the unexpected that had walked in uninvited? Emma's heart raced as the figure drew nearer, cutting through the joyous atmosphere like a knife. Her body tensed, and she felt the warmth of her fun evaporate, replaced by a chill of familiarity that she couldn't quite shake. Jess? She barely breathed the name, her voice shaky. The woman smiled, but it was nothing warm or inviting. Jess was an old friend turned adversary, a remnant from days filled with doubts and resentment. Memories flashed dimly, like old film reels spooling out a narrative she'd been eager to forget. "Emma," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "I see you're trying to have some fun." The carefree laughter around them dulled to an uneasy silence, a collective breath held as everyone sensed the shift. Mark, sensing Emma's discomfort, instinctively took a step closer, his presence a silent vow of support. We were just about to start karaoke," he said lightly, attempting to redirect the energy. But Jess shook her head, a smirk forming. "Come on, Emma. Are you really going to stand there pretending you're one of them? You haven't changed at all." Emma felt the sting of her words, sharp and unrelenting, a reminder of all the reasons she'd tried to break free from her past. But then, as Danny squeezed her hand tighter, something within her shifted. Taking a deep breath, Emma met Jess's gaze, her voice steadier than she expected. "This is my life now. I'm happy. And you don't get to take that away from me." Danny's eyes sparkled with admiration. He didn't quite understand the ugliness unfolding, but he sensed his mom standing her ground. Jess narrowed her eyes, an incredulous laugh escaping her. "Happy? Really? You think a few lame activities with these people will change anything? You're still a mess, Emma." Intensity filled the air, and Emma felt everyone's eyes shift between them, the tension thickening. But instead of retreating, an unexpected wave of confidence surged. "Maybe I am a mess," she shot back, her heart pounding. "But at least I'm trying to fix it. Compared to a so-called friend who drags others down just to feel good about herself, I'd say I'm doing all right." Mark clapped, breaking the silence. "That's right. Come on, everyone. Who's ready for some karaoke?" The crowd erupted in half-hearted cheers, and Emma took it as a sign. They weren't as impacted by Jess's presence as she feared. There was a strength growing around her, a united front against the negativity. Jess's face twisted, frustration clear as she stepped back, a dismissive wave escaping her lips. "Enjoy your little games," she huffed, retreating into the crowd. With her departure, the light slowly returned. Laughter bubbled back, and Sarah cheered with renewed enthusiasm. "All right. Let's get this party started." Emma felt a rush of relief wash over her. She was more than the ghosts of her past. She had a voice, a life that pulsed with possibility, and she wouldn't let anyone, especially not Jess, take that from her. As the first notes of the karaoke song floated through the air, Emma squeezed Danny's hand tighter and stepped forward. She could feel the weight of the room behind her, the support mingling with her own determination. "Let's sing," she proclaimed, the nervousness met by the thrill of the moment. And then she began to sing, pouring a piece of her heart into each note, flooding the fears with strength. Would she finally be able to drown out the echoes of her past, or would their shadows still lurk at the edges of her new world? As the song filled the room, it felt like a declaration, but could it be enough? Emma's voice rang out, powerful and raw, rising above the echoes of the past. She poured everything she had into the song, each note a declaration of resilience. The crowd was entranced, caught in the magic of the moment. Faces lit up, eyes shone with admiration, and more than just her voice, her spirit filled the room. As she finished, a wave of applause washed over her. Mark and Sarah jumped to their feet, clapping and cheering. Danny grinned up at her, his eyes wide with amazement. Emma's heart soared, the thrill of reclaiming her joy blending seamlessly with the warmth of their support. "See?" Mark said, a gleam in his eye. "You crushed it. Who knew you had that in you?" Before Emma could respond, another voice piped up from the back. "Not bad for someone who's still a mess." It was Sarah, and she didn't hold back the playfulness in her tone. Laughter erupted, dispelling any remnants of the tension Jess had left behind. Emma felt lighter, each chuckle a step away from the shadows. She had sung her truth, and the world felt a little brighter because of it. But as she stepped down from the makeshift stage, a sense of unease lingered in the air. Jess had left, but not without leaving an imprint. Emma knew the battle with her past wasn't over. It felt as if Jess had planted a seed of doubt deep within her, one that might sprout at the most inconvenient times. "Hey, you okay?" Danny asked, stepping closer and sensing the slight shift in her demeanor. Emma forced a smile, though it felt thin. "Yeah, just thinking." Danny hugged her tightly, grounding her again. "Let's pick another song. Something fun. I want to sing with you." His enthusiasm was infectious, and it brought a smile to her face. She could almost forget the shadows creeping on the edges. As they prepared to choose their next song, Emma stole a glance around at her friends, the laughter and joy radiating from them. They were here, supportive and real. Could she truly believe she was part of this life, free from the weight of her past? "All right, how about this one?" she said, pointing to a duet that glimmered from the songbook. Danny bobbed his head, ready to dive back into the fun. They took their positions, and the music started again. This time, Emma focused on the lyrics, the rhythm, and the happiness wrapped around her like a soft blanket. Just as they began to settle into the song, a shadow fell over her once more, pulling her focus to the door. Jess had returned, arms crossed and an enigmatic expression on her face. Emma's heart sank, dread creeping back in like an old friend. The fun atmosphere dimmed slightly, the vibrant energy from before wavering in Jess's presence. "What do you want?" Emma asked, her voice firm but trembling, ignoring the knot tightening in her stomach. Jess smirked, stepping further into the light. "I came to see how the happy crowd was doing. Heard your little performance. Not bad, for a mess." The laughter and cheers around the room faded, the world narrowing down to just the two of them again. Emma's heart raced, battling the urge to shrink back against the familiar punch of Jess's words. She could feel the energy shifting, like the calm before a storm. But then she recalled the moment of strength from her song. This was her ground, her space, and she wouldn't allow Jess to claim any part of it past or present. "Get out," Emma shot back, voice steady. "You're not welcome here." The words hung in the air like charged electricity, eyes turning between Jess and Emma as anticipation built. What would Jess do next? Would she back down or charge in further? And in that moment, Emma felt the same wave of determination surge inside her once again. This time, she would not only sing for joy, she would stand for herself, ready to confront whatever came next. Would Jess push back, or would she witness the strength Emma had forged through every battle? With the next crescendo of her heart racing, Emma realized this confrontation was far from over. Jess's eyes narrowed, her confidence unfurling like a dark cloud overhead. Emma's pulse quickened, it was hard to ignore the way Jess commanded the space with her presence. The room, once filled with laughter and music, now felt tight, air heavy with tension. "What's the matter? Are you afraid of hearing the truth?" Jess stepped closer, her voice dripping with mockery. "You think one song can erase everything? The crowd shifted uncomfortably, glancing between the two women. Emma could feel their gazes, the silent encouragement, but would it be enough to hold her ground when Jess seemed poised to attack? She swallowed, her throat dry, but determination flooded through her. No. One song means I'm moving on. You can't keep dragging me back. Jess scoffed, arms still crossed defiantly. Moving on? You're still that same girl who couldn't hold it together. I mean, let us be honest, you need me around to keep you grounded. A sharp intake of breath rippled through the audience. Emma's friends flinched at Jess's words, but Emma felt something change inside her. Jess was wrong. I don't need you, Jess, she replied firmly. I am stronger than you think. I've fought to be here, and I won't let you take that away from me. For a moment, Jess's smug expression faltered. Perhaps she hadn't expected Emma to push back so fiercely. The air crackled with a newfound energy, and Emma seized that moment, stepping forward. You're right about one thing. I'm a mess, but I'm learning to embrace it. I'm learning to be me, without you. Gasps echoed around the room, and her friends looked on, eyes wide. The music had stopped, but the beat of Emma's heart thrummed louder than ever. Wow, Jess said, fake astonishment plastered on her face. It's like you've read a self-help book or something. That's the point, Emma insisted. I'm choosing to rise above, to leave behind the parts of me that you cling to. You don't define me anymore. With every word, Emma felt a weight lift off her shoulders, her confidence surging with each declaration of truth. The crowd began to stir, murmurs of approval rippling through the room like a wave. Is this what you wanted? Jess asked, anger bleeding into her tone. A little moment to feel special? A standing ovation from your little friends? Emma shook her head, refusing to let Jess's bitterness poison her victory. No. I wanted to stand tall, to show everyone and myself that I can be more than just what you think of me. It's about finding my own voice and my own strength. The silence that followed felt monumental. Jess's bravado began to melt, uncertainty creeping in. Emma could almost see the chinks in her armor, the doubt that bubbled underneath. And you think this makes you a superstar? Jess probed, trying to salvage her facade. You think people will forget the real you? I'll tell my story, my way, Emma countered. And I won't let you push it back into the shadows. Danny broke the tension, stepping forward, eyes aflame with passion. This isn't about being a superstar, Jess. This is about Emma finding who she really is. His stance was strong, supportive. Emma's chest swelled with a mix of gratitude and pride as her friends rallied behind her. Together, they formed a fortress of strength, the barrier against Jess's negativity. Fine, Jess huffed, bitterness spilling out. Suit yourself. But remember, I'll always be around. You can't escape your past. Maybe, Emma replied, her voice carrying a soothing assurance. But I can choose how I let it define me. And with that, Jess turned, storming out of the room. The moment felt endless, a breath held in the collective chest of the crowd, until it finally erupted. Emma found herself enveloped in a flurry of hugs, cheers erupting around her. Flashes of joy turned into laughter, the earlier tension evaporating like morning mist. But just as she sank into the warmth of her friend's support, a flicker of doubt crawled back. Jess's words hung in the air like a specter. How long until that doubt would return, coiling around her heart once again? As she smiled at Danny and Mark, the question loomed. Was she truly strong enough to navigate her world without Jess haunting her? And as the crowd continued to cheer, Emma felt the beginnings of an answer brewing deep within her, a journey still in progress. In the aftermath of Jess's departure, the community center buzzed with energy, laughter bouncing off the walls like joy unleashed. Emma stood at the center of it all, absorbing the warmth and connection surrounding her. Her heart raced, fueled by the adrenaline of confrontation, and the realization that her voice mattered. Danny beamed with pride. You were amazing, Mom. You stood up to her. Mark stepped closer, a soft smile on his face. You really did. I'm proud of you. Emma could see the warmth in his eyes. He had believed in her all along, even when she struggled to believe in herself. That reassurance released a flood of emotions. The barriers around her heart softened, piece by piece. But her thoughts remained tangled. Even amid the celebration, Jess's haunting words hovered in the air. Would they come back to haunt her? As the music boomed back to life, Sarah grabbed Emma's hand, pulling her toward the dance floor. Come on. This is your moment. No looking back. Her infectious enthusiasm cut through the shadows that still lingered. Emma hesitated, a flicker of apprehension stitching its way through her excitement. What if I don't know how to keep going? Then we'll figure it out together. Isn't that what this night is about? Sarah said, her eyes sparkling, and Emma couldn't help but feel invigorated. The dance floor pulsed with light and laughter, and amid the crowd, Emma felt buoyed by Danny's infectious joy. She could see it now, her path was not about perfection, it was about connections, growth, and learning to embrace each moment. She stepped into the throng, joining the others in the lively dance, laughing with every twist and turn. The doubts, the fears each beat pushed them further away, and her spirit soared higher. Mark watched from the sidelines, his admiration evident as he cheered for her transformation. Emma caught his eye and shared a smile, awakening something profound between them, something beyond this night, beyond the laughter. As the dance ebbed and flowed, Mark finally joined them. You're incredible out there, he said, spinning her into the rhythm. Their movements intertwined, the music swelling in a chorus of hope and joy. Emma felt freer than she had in years, each step reminding her that she was reclaiming more than just her joy, she was reclaiming her power. Is this who you are now? He asked softly, catching her gaze as they swayed together. Because I think you're just getting started. A bright smile illuminated Emma's face. This is definitely me. I finally get to write my story. But just then, another thought crossed her mind. What about tomorrow? What if Jess comes back? Mark met her gaze, unwaveringly steady. You've shown you can stand your ground. If she does return, you'll be stronger. You'll know how to face her. Emma felt the warmth of his words wrap around her like a comforting embrace. Yes, this was about so much more than tonight. It was about continuing this journey, a journey that would have its ups and downs, its hurdles and victories. As they finished the last dance break, Danny dashed over. Mom, can we do this every week? Emma laughed, her heart swelling with affection. I'd like that. Mark wove his arm around Emma and Danny, drawing them together as they shared a moment of pure joy. Let us make it happen. This community is worth celebrating. And with that, a spark ignited within Emma. It was the promise of future events, new connections, and ongoing conversations wrapped in laughter. She would build a community of support not only for herself but for Danny, and for everyone who had walked a similar path. As the night wound down, Emma took a deep breath, feeling the lingering energy. This night transformed her, igniting the belief that she was capable of more than she had ever imagined. No longer would she let shadows define her path. Emma was stepping into her new life, hand in hand with those who loved her, ready to embrace whatever came next. And suddenly, she knew, tomorrow would be okay. With hope bubbling in her heart, she glanced at Mark, their connection deepening in a way she could hardly describe. The music faded, the cheers echoed, and in that moment, Emma felt the world open wide. In the excitement of the night, she vowed to cherish this feeling, this transformation, and she realized it was only the beginning. Together, they would face whatever came next. Now, this is the moment for you. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let them know how much you love this journey. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Your voice matters. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to support the channel. Don't wait not even one more second.